My name is Yoshi. I just moved out here in Tennessee mid-April from Palm Springs, California. How did I move out here in EBG? John Mariana has been mentoring me for the past 9 years since 2015. I met him at a youth conference actually in Las Vegas. Who knew you could find Jesus in Sin City? But the biggest thing was that 2015 was the year that kind of trembled down and almost took my life away twice. My dad landed in the hospital, depressed. I had 2 attempts of suicide. That failed, and here we are today. Little did I know, I met some Filipino dude at a youth conference. He has a camera, he's Filipino, he looks like my big brother. Go talk to him real quick. And got his number, who knew it was his personal cell, and since then he's been mentoring me through business, photography, videography, college, of what I should do, what should I not do. And ran into him a few times in Palm Springs and San Diego and LA as well. Fast forward December of 2023, I'm in playoffs mode for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. At the time, I was a videographer for a minor league team for the AHL. At the same time, I was still doing my freelance work as a creative, doing photography, videography, distribution, managing the whole shebang. I was a whole one-man army for the past 8.5, 9 years. I was interning. I had a 9-to-5, 5-to-9 job, going to college, and still doing all this content creative work. At the time, I was like, what's next? I want to start a family in the next maybe 5-6 years. I want to get a house. I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck, if not milking out my gigs, and not living the greatest lifestyle, but surviving. I reached out to John and I was like, hey man, what's up with Nashville, Tennessee? And he's like, well, I have an offer for you. I love what you do. I see you shooting on ice. I love who you are and what you do. You have a passion that you turn into your purpose in your everyday life. But I do not want to offer you anything on paper or in 100% guarantee until you come out here and visit my family and visit the area and see if it's for you. February of this year, I would come out for 6 days. Man, it's cold. Came out, met the team, met the community, and fell in love. It was almost perfect timing. As loud as day, God said, welcome home. And right then and there, I knew I had to make the change from going from Palm Springs, California to out here in Gallatin, Nashville, Tennessee, and doing what I do. So working for EBG just landed me a 9-year process of myself working as a one-man army, going to college, getting my degree, being a videographer for a minor league hockey team, which is something that a lot of people don't get the chance to say. Shooting on ice, meeting the players, and doing weddings, doing quinceañeras, doing maternity shoots, and serving at a church for the past 15 years as well. So that's how I landed here at EBG.
What is a social media tactic that you've seen people swear by, but you know in reality it's not, it's bogus?
I hate the word influencers. People think that they are an influence to everything in life to where they're not. And once they say they are an influence, they believe that they carry so much value and potential. But at the same time, them as influencers who projectly say that they are influencers, they don't have any influence. If you notice the people who actually carry value and dignity, they don't say, yeah, I carry value, this is what I carry. No, they just live the life and they say what they do. And then saying, hey, I'm a great photographer or I'm a great videographer. It's like, no, like, what do you do? It's like, cool, I shot for X, Y, and Z person, this is what I do. So I say people who are influencers and people using influencers in the wrong meaning and finding the wrong influencers for your purpose of your company is probably the worst way possible because there's no beneficial and education behind it.
What is one lesson a beginning content creator should learn?
There's 2 lessons. 1, fail. 2, learn from it. A lot of people are so scared to fail. They're so scared to fail nowadays to where they think that's the end of the road. You learn from your failures and move on. You can't fail unless you try. A lot of people are scared of trying, but that's the most thing that you could do nowadays. Learning from your failures is a growth step, and that's what we all need, and that's what happens every single day, is that's when you're gonna put yourself in the humble dome.
If you went back in time 5 years, what would you do differently?
What the hell is 5 years ago? I mean, 2019, I bought a Canon 7070, and that was a year that I was working Coachella Fest as back hands work. And that same year, I got the chance to actually sneak into a few concerts. I got the chance to photograph Usher, Gwen Stefani, J Balvin, Reese LaFleur, Usher, and Miguel. Doing that was a risk. I went through security, I said, hey, I'm with media. I'm not with media, I don't have any credentials. And here I am in the front of the photo pit. What I was told to myself 5 years ago was take the risk. Take the leap of faith. You're young, you're wild. All that you're gonna get is a slap on the wrist. You're not a full adult at the time. You don't have anything. What do you have to lose? Take that risk. Like, if you're scared, that's great. One of my mentors, Gio Vera, he actually said, if you're scared, I'm sorry, if you're not scared, it shows that you're not dreaming big enough. So be scared.
What has it been like going from a freelancer and being like a one-man team to working with a team now, where everyone like has their own respective, responsibilities?
Coming as a freelance worker for the past 9 years, but 6 years working at 9 to 5 and 5 to 9, and also going to college is kind of insane. And now going into having our departments and our pods and not being that one-man army for such a long time. I was in charge of meeting the client, doing the education, doing the distribution, doing the shooting on photo and video throughout the whole shoot, editing it, planning everything else, and making sure that the client is pleased. And there was a lot of times where a lot of my clients are friends, or if not turn into friends, same way how we're doing it here in EBG. And I didn't know that until I came out here in February. I was like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, this is our good friend, Jim Morris. Later I know he's actually one of our clients. But doing freelance work really humbles you hard, because there are times I was doing my 9 to 5 job at La Quinta Brew Company. I was working back at house, doing a bunch of slave work, making the beer, canning it, bottling it, doing all the slave work, especially in the summer when it's 120 degrees and all that we have is swamp coolers in the back. And then going to college throughout the whole week too, in the evenings, and then creating content and going to the gym later in the evenings, because I was also the CMO of Desert Metro Fitness. So doing that for the past few years was such a challenge, especially starting a gym from bottom up during COVID. There's a lot of contemporary things that we stayed in for such a small moment, especially having a name, and then going for where we're at now as a high-striving gym. Everything that I learned in the past 9 years, especially the last 4 years, has really educated myself and taught myself to be the person that I am now, to where we could be running high productions. If I was myself 5 years ago, I'd be freaking out. I don't know what the hell I'll be doing. Now I'm calm and collective. I could set up a camera and a tripod within less than 5-10 minutes with everything that's needed. Everything that I learned when I first grabbed a camera in 2015, doing everything in the church, doing everything as a freelancer, doing everything at Acrisure Arena as a camera operator, and then doing everything as a videographer on ice, and then till now. Everything all around is just a storytelling story block. And that's where it got me to where I'm at today. It's been beneficial a lot, I'd say, especially knowing that we also have a good handful of people overseas doing a lot of our editing and design work too, because that's also going to give us accountability to do all of our other tasks that's needed throughout the whole week. And that's my thing. The only person that was accountable was my best friend at the time, or right now still, because he was my manager. He stepped in and said, okay, let me go to the events, Like all the mixers, all the luncheons and dinners that you're gonna go to, I'll wear your production shirt with you, and I'll say I'm your manager, you do X, Y, and Z, and all you do is walk around with your camera and do what's best for a highlight video while I'll do all the fun work. And now coming into a team, I get not only one person, but like close to 12 to 15 people to hold myself accountable. And that's my biggest thing, especially from my walk of life in Christ, is that accountability is the biggest thing that's gonna hold you all together.
What, out of all of our gear, now you can't use your gear. I have to specify that. Out of all of the gear in EBG, what is the best piece of gear that we have in our arsenal?
The studio. I say the studio as the whole piece is the biggest thing because it has everything within our hands. Whatever we need, it's here. Whatever we don't have, it's here. But I say the studio is secondhand. The first thing is the team, because without the team, there wouldn't be no studio.